Give a damn about a hater when I feel like it. Not today.
Good day everyone, this is Anjali Elamaro from IPED 4C and I will going to discuss the virtue, ethics, natural law. Let's focus on lessons on natural law. Aquinas' moral theory rotates in a possibility of natural law. For him, the natural law is in particular from the divine virtue. However, in a fact basis of it, since it causes us to see how God really made the universe and reorder it. According to him, what is good is to be done and evil is to be avoided. All in all, what is the meaning of natural law? For Aquinas, natural law is our natural comprehension and tendency to do certain things normally. For example, safeguarding or ensuring one's life, teaching our kids, keeping our opportunity, working for the benefit of all of the community, looking for God, and avoiding obliviousness. In this way, we should apply these standards in a judicious way, with steady impressions of our desire to prosper as people and just peace of nature is that we likewise have cardinal impulses that we should scrape. Natural law is the philosophical theory that states the human have certain rights, moral values, and responsibility that are inherent in a human nature. Natural law is the base on the idea that natural law are universal concepts and are not based on a culture or customs. Still, it is a way of society acts naturally and inherently as human beings. Natural law is important because it is applied to moral, political, and ethical system today. It has played a large role in the history and political and philosophical theory and has been used to understand and discuss human nature.
Along these lines, how might we become virtuous according to Saint Thomas Aquinas? Human nature is normally disposed of being a rational, free, social, and physical being. We should consistently seek after what is beneficial for us. On the off chance that something will stop us from prospering as individuals, it isn't right to look for it. To realize what is acceptable and terrible for us, we should consistently think about our essential needs and comprehend the natural law. Natural law likewise has three moral principles which are essentials to know to comprehend the fundamental principles of Aquinas' virtue ethics. Aquinas contended that there are three general qualities that manage our ethical information where each and every individual who has accomplished primary education can comprehend. He said that these qualities are pertinent consistently at all times, places, and circumstances. They are principles that can be learned through the reflection of one's very own encounters by analyzing them with human explanation aside from faith.
Good day everyone, I am Rachel P. Stanislao, the third reporter. Natural law, three universal values. Here are the three universal moral principles as indicated by Aquinas. First is all-inclusive standards are consistent with each individual who has arrived at the time of reasons as a general rule. It's the guideline of personality and non-logical inconsistency. The model for the main good standard is you should consistently do great and keep away from evil. Second is all-inclusive rules that with certain reflections can be reached from the main standards. Its model is we ought to reimburse the beneficial things done to us. On account of our parents, we can't reimburse their finances really. Consequently, we should regard and love them consistently. In conclusion, widespread rules that are not handily seen by individuals, so a safe educator must assist us clarify it. Presently, we should move to another point given by Thomas Aquinas in his moral hypothesis. In this inquiry, he was asking how we can achieve happiness, in which he addressed that we can accomplish joy once we have recognized and achieved our ultimate objective from different methods. He accepted that we generally set different ultimate objectives throughout everyday life, except we additionally have an extreme end, which is bliss itself. A definitive ultimate objective is a finish all things considered and won't be utilized as a way to some further closure. For instance, secondary school students concentrate hard to get passing marks at school. Having passing mark is critical to get ready for school. Once in school, studies mean to secure as much information as possible to get passing marks and graduate on schedule. A decent scholastic foundation will at the point influence in getting a decent line of work. A great job implies steady and good pay. Riches carry a feeling of monetary opportunity to an individual to do exercise that will satisfy the person in question.
And good day everyone, I am Mr. Rinald Flores from BPED at 4C. So today I'm going to continue the discussion of our group. Is it conceivable to have a numerous goal? The appropriate response is no. For Aquinas, there is just extreme ultimate objective, which is happiness, in light of the fact that a definitive ultimate objective is something we look for well-being of its own and is altogether fulfilling the entirety of one's one. In his work, Summa Theologica, Thomas Aquinas characterized righteousness as a propensity that causes an individual to play out his capacity, activity, or development appropriately. He introduced numerous sorts of ethics in his book that characterize human goodness. Notwithstanding, he recognized four explicit temperance that arrange us to carry on with ethically great lives. So ayan, he called this the cardinal virtues. These are prudence, temperance, courage or fortitude, and justice. So the first under cardinal virtues is prudence. Reasonability is the righteousness of scholarly fitness or capacity to do certain things mentally and sanely. Ayan, so prudence is a called right reason in actions. Practical wisdom, the virtue of responsible decision making. It helps us select the right means of achieving what is good. Prudence is the most important virtue as it drives the other cardinal virtues and applies them to any situations.
Good day everyone, I am Judith Gabaon. The second virtue is temperance. Restraints is temperance of refining our methods, of making the most of our real ones. It guides us to follow a control like balance, accommodation, courteous, forbearance, and celibacy. It means controlling of certain pleasures and desire or restraints of our desire or passions, like food, sex, drink, are all necessary for our survival. Temperance is the virtue that attain to keep us from excess and require the balancing of legitimate good against our inordinate desire for them. Temperance is a golden mean that helps us determine how far we can up our desire. For instance, swearing of drinking liquor, eating exorbitantly, engaging in sexual relations, and living extravagantly is temperate for Aquinas. Courage is the virtue of limiting feelings of trepidation while figuring out how to bear preposterous hunger for wild activities. Fearlessness will likewise have continuous certainty, heavenliness, persistence, and diligence. Like what I say, temperance restrains the strong appetite such as the sexual appetite. But courage and its subsidiary modify what Aquinas called the irascible appetite. Aquinas means the desire for that which is difficult to attain to avoid. Occasionally, the difficulty in achieving or avoiding certain objects can give rise to various degrees of fear and in turn discourage us from adhering to reason, instruction. In these cases, we may refuse to endure the pain or discomfort required for achieving our proper human good. So, in other hand, we need to courage to restrain our fears so that we might endure harrowing circumstance. Yet, courage not only mollifies our fear, it also combats the unreasonable zeal to overcome them. For the courageous person must also be confident. For instance, facing a challenge to go after that position you are sitting tight for quite a long time is a type of mental fortitude. Yet, skydiving without legitimate hardware for the adrenaline surge is a type of foolishness. And justice. Equity is the ethicalness that administered our connection with others and the state. This righteousness administers our relationship with others, not all like difference, excellences, difference. First, the word justice is mean fairness and devotion to the golden rule. The virtue of justice govern our relationship with others. Two set of distinctions, legal and particular justice, and commutative and distributive justice. First is legal and particular justice. Now, we cannot fulfill the demands of justice only by considering what legal justice requires. Also need particular justice, the virtue which govern our interaction with individual citizens. Unlike general justice, particular justice direct us not to the good of the community, but to the good of individual neighbors and other people with whom we interact regularly. Following Aristotle, Aquinas identified two species of particular justice that deserve attention: commutative and distributive justice. Commutative justice concerns the mutual dealings between individual citizens. Specifically, it seeks to ensure that those who are buying and selling conduct their business fairly. Distributive justice concerns the way in which collective goods and responsibilities are fairly apportioned among people who stand in social community.
Good day everyone, this is Princess G. Gabriel and I will be going to present the Kant and rights theories, goodwill and categorical imperative. Immanuel Kant is a German philosopher, 1724 to 1804, whose way of thinking on the goodwill and categorical imperative is established in utilizing an individual's capacity to reason. We have 4 learning results to accomplish before the finish of the theme: Kant and rights theories. We will accomplish these learning results through talks and class exercises. We will use contextual analysis, book articles, and different references for this point. We will have a test and a case examination as an appraisal. Kant's way of thinking addresses the inquiries. What would I be able to know? The heavenly confidence which isolates what we can experience versus what we can't comprehend. We can just know about things we can understand. What would it be a good idea for me to do? Which intends to act sanely in agreement to an all-inclusive good law. What may I trust? That spirits are godlike. There is God, and that world is planned as per standards of equity. Kant accepts that the feeling of profound quality of people doesn't really originate from an incomparable power of God. So, as to decide directly from wrong, we need to utilize reason. As indicated by him, profound quality and religion ought to be isolated on the grounds that people have various religions, that we will have various answers and reasons for our ethical quality.
Good day everyone, I am Jadelyn Flores Miranda and today I will discuss the maxim. A maxim serves as a premise or rule on how and why we act. It is like an unwritten guideline book which humans attribute to. For instance, on the off chance that we need cash, we buckle down. These are two sorts of saying. First is the abstract or the theoretical goal. This means it is the typical benefits an individual. Second is the target or the absolute objectives. It means this depends on the reason. In philosophy, the term is frequently associated with the moral theory of Immanuel Kant. In Kant's deontological ethics, maxims are understood as subjective principles of action. The maxims, do not kill and do not steal, are examples of such subjective principles. Kant's view is that we should act only according to the maxims that can be regarded as universal laws. That is, we should act only according to the maxims that all people would follow. Notice that a maxim has two components. First is a statement of what you are about to do. For example, I will cheat on my ethics exam. And number two, the reason why you want to do it, because I will be able to graduate this year. And according to him, we all act on maxims. These are the rules we live by. Kant believed that the only consistent way to assess the morality of our actions is to determine whether our actions follow universal maxims based on reason. For Kant, the morality of our actions has nothing to do with the end results. Rather, it has to do with our intentions. Example, the motive behind our actions. People often do the same thing but for different reasons. For example, I dive into a river to rescue another from drowning because I was offered money to do it. And you do it because you believe it to be the correct thing to do. Kant would say my action was not moral because it was motivated by money. And conversely, he would praise you because you acted from a sense of duty or a goodwill. Actions are right only if they proceed from a goodwill. In Kant's terms, a goodwill is a will whose decisions are determined by duty, and duty is determined by reason. Kant's view supports our belief that those who have good intentions, even if their actions results in something undesirable, they are acting morally and they should be praised for their actions. Also, it makes morality depends on our maxims, which we can control. So, the morality of an action depends on its maxim. But how does it work exactly? Kant proposes this procedure. Step 1. Formulate your maxim clearly. State what you intend to do and why. Step 2. Imagine a world in which everyone live by that maxim. And the last step, then ask, can the goal of my action be achieved in such a world? If the answer from step 3 is yes, then the maxim is universalizable and the action is morally permissible. If the answer is no, then the maxim is not universalizable and thus the action is not morally permissible. He is not concerned about whether or not acting on a maxim is conducive to the best consequences or if God approves of it. He asks whether we could achieve our goals in a world where people uphold our maxims as universal moral laws. Kant argued that this procedure enables us to reliably determine whether or not our actions are morally consistent and fair. And that will be all. Thank you.
Not today, not tomorrow, get out my way. Please, I'm trying to get paid. Not today.